If you're over 65, there's something most people won't tell you, not because they're hiding it, but because they simply don't know. Every time you pour your morning coffee, every time you skip a walk because it's too cold, every time you reach for the salt shaker or forget your glass of water, these tiny everyday choices, the kind you don't even think twice about, may be quietly increasing your risk of stroke. And here's the hardest part. Stroke doesn't always come with a warning. It can happen during sleep, in the middle of your favorite show, or while you're standing in the kitchen making toast. But there is good news, very good news. Doctors now agree, up to 80% of strokes are preventable. And that prevention doesn't require expensive gym memberships, high-tech machines, or complex meal plans. In fact, it starts right at home, in your kitchen, your bedroom, even your garden. So if you're someone who's over 65, or if you love someone who is, this video is for you. In the next 30 minutes, I'll walk you through 9 simple, powerful, doctor-approved habits you can build into your day, starting right now. Habits that help keep your blood flowing, your mind clear, and your independence strong. We'll start with breakfast, then talk about movement, hydration, sleep, and a few habits you've probably never even considered. And trust me, even one of these changes can make a difference. So if you're ready to take control, not just of your health, but of your future, stay with me. Take a deep breath. And let's begin with the first habit. What to eat in the morning to calm inflammation and protect your blood vessels for the day ahead. Let's begin with your breakfast, because the first thing you eat each morning could be either protecting your blood vessels or quietly damaging them. After age 65, your body becomes more sensitive to inflammation, high blood pressure, and blood sugar swings, all of which are major contributors to stroke. According to the CDC, nearly 3/4 of strokes occur in people over 65, and many of those strokes are tied to lifestyle choices we make each day, including what we eat for breakfast. The number one enemy here is chronic low-grade inflammation. It's the kind of inflammation you don't feel, but over time, it wears down your arteries, raises your blood pressure, and encourages blood clots to form. The good news is that certain breakfast foods can help reduce that inflammation, stabilize your blood sugar, and improve blood flow to your brain, starting with 3 key groups: healthy fats, antioxidants, and fiber. Let's begin with omega-3 fatty acids found in foods like chia seeds, ground flaxseed, and walnuts. Omega-3s are known for their anti-inflammatory effects. A study published in the journal Stroke found that higher intake of ALA, a plant-based omega-3, was associated with a 27% lower risk of stroke. Just 1 tablespoon of chia seeds contains about 5 grams of fiber and more omega-3s than a piece of salmon. Sprinkle it over your oats, let it sit for 5 minutes to soften, and you're feeding your blood vessels exactly what they need. Next, we look to berries, such as blueberries, raspberries, and blackberries. These are packed with anthocyanins, powerful antioxidants that help protect the walls of your arteries from oxidative stress. According to Harvard researchers, people who consume berries at least 3 times per week may reduce their risk of heart attack and stroke by up to 32%, thanks to these protective compounds. Now let's talk about whole grains, especially plain oats or steel-cut oats. Unlike white bread or sugary cereal, oats are full of soluble fiber, particularly beta-glucan, which helps remove bad cholesterol, LDL, from your bloodstream. The American Heart Association recommends at least 25 grams of fiber per day, and starting your morning with a half cup of oats gives you a strong head start, with around 4 grams of fiber in that one serving. To bring it all together, try this simple recipe. Half a cup of cooked rolled oats, half a banana, sliced half a cup of mixed berries, 1 tablespoon of chia seeds, 5 to 7 walnuts, a pinch of cinnamon for flavor. Optional, a spoonful of plain Greek yogurt for protein and probiotics. It takes just 5 to 10 minutes to prepare, but it supports your heart, your blood vessels, and your brain for hours. Now, while these foods help fight inflammation, some common breakfast items can make it worse, even if they look harmless. Instant flavored oatmeal packets, for example, often contain 12 to 16 grams of added sugar per serving. That's about 4 teaspoons of sugar. This kind of sugar load first thing in the morning spikes your blood glucose, then causes it to crash, triggering fatigue and inflammation. Processed meats like bacon and sausage are loaded with sodium and nitrates, which stiffen arteries and raise blood pressure. Just 2 slices of bacon can contain 400 to 500 milligrams of sodium, about 20% of your daily limit. And if you're reaching for fruit juice, even the 100% kind, you're missing the fiber that slows absorption. 1 cup of orange juice contains about 22 grams of sugar with a glycemic impact similar to soda. In summary, breakfast is not just a routine. It's a daily decision that shapes your stroke risk. By choosing whole, natural, anti-inflammatory foods and avoiding hidden sugar and sodium, you're already taking one of the smartest steps toward protecting your brain. Next, we'll look at something even simpler than food: water, and why dehydration and added sugar may be 2 of the most underestimated stroke triggers of all. Now let's move from what's on your plate to what's in your glass. Because when it comes to stroke prevention, staying hydrated is just as important as eating the right foods. Most people don't realize this, but mild dehydration can raise your stroke risk, especially after age 65. Here's how it works. When your body doesn't get enough water, your blood becomes thicker. That makes it harder to flow and more likely to clot. In fact, according to a study published in Stroke Journal, dehydration was found in over 60% of patients who arrived at the hospital with an ischemic stroke. That's the most common type of stroke, caused by a blocked blood vessel in the brain. And for older adults, the risk is higher, because as we age, our sense of thirst becomes less accurate. You may not feel thirsty, but your body still needs water to keep blood pressure stable, flush out waste, and keep your brain well perfused with oxygen. So what's the solution? It starts with a simple habit. Keep a glass or bottle of water within reach at all times. Fill it in the morning. Set reminders if needed. Sip regularly. Don't wait until you're parched. Aim for at least 6 to 8 cups of water a day. More if you're active or live in a warm climate. Now let's talk about something that works against hydration: refined sugar. Refined sugar is not just in desserts. It's hidden in flavored yogurts, breakfast bars, bottled teas, and even salad dressings. And once it enters your bloodstream, it triggers a cascade of inflammation, raising blood pressure, increasing insulin resistance, and damaging the inner lining of your arteries. The American Heart Association recommends that older adults limit added sugar to no more than 24 grams per day for women and 36 grams for men. But most people consume far more, often without knowing it. 1 sweetened yogurt can contain 20 grams of sugar. A can of soda, nearly 40 grams. Even a healthy granola bar might have 15 grams, half your daily limit. And the more sugar you eat, the more water your body pulls from your tissues to balance your blood sugar. This dehydrates you even more, doubling the stroke risk pathway. Thicker blood, higher pressure, more inflammation. So what can you do instead? Choose whole fruits over fruit juice or sweet snacks. A ripe banana, apple, or a handful of berries gives you natural sweetness with fiber that slows sugar absorption. Flavor your water naturally with lemon, cucumber, or mint to make it more appealing. Skip the sugary drinks. Instead, enjoy herbal teas like chamomile or rooibos, especially in the afternoon when sugary cravings tend to rise. And finally, Make hydration part of your routine, not an afterthought. Set a goal. Drink a glass of water first thing after waking up, one before each meal, and one mid-afternoon. Because sometimes protecting your brain doesn't take medicine, it just takes a little more water. Coming up next, how walking, just 10 minutes after each meal, can dramatically improve your blood flow and stabilize your blood sugar, all without leaving your home. Let's move now, quite literally, to one of the most powerful habits for stroke prevention that costs nothing and takes only 10 minutes. Walking, right after you eat. Not an intense jog, not a workout video, just a gentle short walk around your home, your yard, or even down the hallway. Here's why this simple activity matters so much. After every meal, especially meals with carbohydrates, your blood sugar naturally rises. That's normal. But in older adults, this spike can be sharper and more prolonged, especially if you're not moving. When blood sugar stays high, it increases inflammation, damages your blood vessels, and puts pressure on your heart. But here's the amazing part. Walking for just 10 minutes after a meal can reduce that blood sugar spike by up to 22%, according to a study published in Diabetologia. Why? Because your muscles are now using that sugar for energy instead of letting it linger in your bloodstream. And that's not all. Walking also improves circulation, lowers blood pressure naturally, reduces post-meal fatigue and brain fog, and supports healthy weight, which is directly linked to lower stroke risk. This is especially critical after dinner when most people are sedentary. You eat, you sit, maybe watch TV, and go to bed. That pattern allows blood sugar to stay elevated longer, contributing to overnight vascular stress, one of the hidden stroke risks during sleep. So here's what to do. After breakfast, lunch, and dinner, set a gentle goal. 10 minutes of movement. Not power walking, just purposeful steps. Walk in place while tidying up the kitchen. Take a stroll around your garden. Even walking up and down your hallway counts. You can even make it social. Invite your spouse. Call a friend while you move. And if weather is bad, walk indoors. What matters most is the movement, not the scenery. This is one of those rare habits that requires no equipment, no schedule, and provides immediate benefits. You'll feel it. Your legs feel looser, your mind clearer, and your body more balanced. So if you've just had a meal, don't sit right down. Walk a little. Let your food work for you, not against you. Next, we'll head back to the kitchen, but not to eat. We're going to look at one small seasoning habit that most people overlook, and why reducing just half a teaspoon of salt each day could lower your stroke risk more than any pill. We've talked about walking after meals, but let's now step into a different kind of habit. One that lives quietly in your kitchen, in your pantry, and maybe even on your dining table. I'm talking about salt, and how this small seasoning, when overused, can silently push your blood pressure higher, and your stroke risk right along with it. Here's a fact that may surprise you. High blood pressure is the single most important modifiable risk factor for stroke, and excess salt is one of the fastest ways to drive that pressure up, especially after age 65, when your kidneys and blood vessels become more sensitive to sodium overload. Let's dig into the numbers for a moment. The American Heart Association recommends no more than 1,500 milligrams of sodium per day for older adults. That's just about 2/3 of a teaspoon. Yet, the average American consumes more than 3,400 milligrams daily, more than double that amount. You may think, but I don't add that much salt when I cook. And that may be true, but nearly 70% of the salt we eat doesn't come from the salt shaker. It comes from processed, packaged, and restaurant foods, canned soups, salad dressings, frozen meals, deli meats, bread, even so-called healthy veggie chips or cereals. This hidden salt adds up, meal after meal, day after day, quietly tightening your arteries and damaging the delicate lining of your blood vessels. A study published in the Journal of the American College of Cardiology found that reducing daily sodium intake by just 1,000 milligrams can lower systolic blood pressure by an average of 5 to 6 millimeters of mercury. And here's the real power. Every 10 millimeter mercury drop in systolic pressure is linked to a 27% lower risk of stroke. So the question is, how can you cut salt without giving up flavor? Here's where things get exciting, because nature is full of bold, healing flavor. Garlic contains allicin, a compound shown to reduce blood pressure and cholesterol. Try roasting it or adding minced garlic to soups, sauces, and roasted vegetables. Turmeric. The bright yellow spice contains curcumin, which reduces inflammation in blood vessels and improves circulation. Use it in rice, lentils, or scrambled eggs. Rosemary, thyme, oregano, basil. These herbs not only add fragrance and flavor, they're rich in plant compounds that support healthy arteries. Try them dried or fresh. Lemon juice or apple cider vinegar. These add acidity and brightness to dishes, helping you crave less salt while waking up your taste buds. Extra virgin olive oil. Not just a fat, but a stroke-fighting food. Rich in polyphenols and anti-inflammatory compounds, olive oil helps lower blood pressure and reduce oxidative stress. Let's walk through a quick before and after example. Say you're making roasted potatoes. Most people might toss them in vegetable oil, sprinkle heavily with seasoning salt, and bake. That single dish can contain over 800 milligrams of sodium, half your daily limit. Now let's reimagine it. You roast the potatoes in extra virgin olive oil. Add minced garlic. Sprinkle rosemary and a dash of turmeric, maybe a splash of lemon juice at the end. The sodium? Under 100 milligram. The flavor? Earthy, bright, deeply satisfying. And your arteries? They'll be smiling too. If reducing sodium feels like a big shift, start small. Cook one meal a day from scratch using herbs instead of salt. Use half the salt you normally would and double the flavor from spices. Taste your food before automatically salting it. And remember, your taste buds adjust in just 2 to 3 weeks. What tastes bland today will taste just right tomorrow. This isn't about punishment. It's about retraining your senses to love what's good for your heart. Because stroke prevention doesn't have to be flavorless. In fact, it can taste better than ever. Coming up next, we'll head into your nightly routine and explore why your bedtime, and even your coffee schedule, might be more connected to stroke risk than you think. We've covered breakfast, hydration, walking, and seasoning. Now let's move into something we often overlook, even though we spend 1/3 of our lives doing it. Sleep. Because believe it or not, your risk of stroke doesn't pause while you sleep. In fact, research shows that up to 25% of strokes happen during sleep or within the first hours after waking, often without warning. That's why your nighttime routine may be just as important as your daytime habits when it comes to protecting your brain and blood vessels. So, what's the connection? Poor sleep, especially inconsistent sleep or insomnia, throws off your body's natural rhythms. It raises nighttime blood pressure, increases stress hormones like cortisol, and disrupts the way your body regulates blood sugar. All of these create the perfect storm for stroke risk. A major study published in the journal Neurology followed over 30,000 adults for nearly a decade. Those with irregular sleep patterns had a 22% higher risk of stroke compared to those with consistent sleep-wake times, regardless of total sleep hours. So here's tip number 5. Set a regular sleep and wake time and stick to it. That means going to bed at roughly the same time each night, even on weekends, and waking up around the same hour each morning. Why? Because your circadian rhythm, your internal body clock, helps regulate blood pressure, heart rate, and inflammation. A steady sleep routine keeps those systems running smoothly. Now there's one more habit that can silently sabotage your sleep, especially after age 60. Caffeine late in the day. You might love your coffee or green tea, and a morning cup is perfectly fine for most people. But did you know caffeine can stay in your system for 6 to 8 hours? That means if you drink coffee at 3 p.m., it could still be affecting your brain at 9 or 10 p.m., delaying sleep, reducing deep sleep, and keeping your blood pressure elevated overnight. This is especially true for older adults. As we age, our liver metabolizes caffeine more slowly. That means the same afternoon cup of coffee that once had no effect in your 40s may now keep you up at night in your 70s. So here's the rule. Avoid caffeine after 2 p.m. Instead, try caffeine-free alternatives that promote calm and support heart health. Chamomile tea, gentle, soothing, and linked to lower anxiety. Licorice root or rooibos tea, naturally sweet and caffeine-free lemon balm or passion flower, used traditionally to support sleep. Even just warm water with lemon can be a comforting ritual. And remember, quality sleep isn't just about duration. It's about consistency and depth. So dim the lights an hour before bed. Turn off screens. Read a book or listen to calming music. Let your body wind down naturally without caffeine fighting against it. Because a good night's rest is one of the most powerful medicines for your heart, your brain, and your entire vascular system. Coming up next, you'll learn a simple trick to check your heart rhythm at home, and why knowing the signs of an irregular heartbeat might just save your life. Now let's talk about something you can't see, but you can feel, if you know what to look for: your heart rhythm. One of the most overlooked stroke risks after age 65 isn't high blood pressure or cholesterol. It's an irregular heartbeat known as atrial fibrillation, or AFib. AFib is a condition where the upper chambers of your heart beat out of sync with the lower chambers. Instead of a steady rhythmic thump-thump, your heart may flutter, skip beats, or race unpredictably. And here's the alarming part. AFib increases your risk of stroke by 5 times. Yes, 5 times. That's because when the heart beats irregularly, blood can pool inside the heart and form clots. If one of those clots travels to your brain, that's a stroke. And even more concerning, many people with AFib don't feel any symptoms at all. It can be silent, lurking in the background, until something serious happens. But there's good news. AFib is detectable and treatable, especially if caught early. Here's a simple, at-home method to check your pulse. Sit quietly and relax for a minute. Place your index and middle finger on your wrist, just below the base of your thumb. Press lightly until you feel your pulse. Count the beats for 15 seconds, then multiply by 4 to get your heart rate. While you're counting, pay attention. Is the rhythm steady or irregular? A normal resting heart rate is between 60 to 100 beats per minute. But even more important than the number is the rhythm. A steady rhythm, thump, 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 is what we want. An irregular pattern, thump, pause, thump, thump, skip, maybe a red flag. Common warning signs of AFib include a fluttering or pounding in your chest, shortness of breath, especially with light activity, fatigue without explanation, feeling lightheaded or dizzy, anxiety, or a sense of something being off. If you notice any of these or detect an irregular rhythm, don't panic, but don't ignore it either. Call your doctor and ask for a simple test called an ECG, electrocardiogram. It takes just a few minutes and can confirm whether your heartbeat is steady or irregular. Why is this so important? Because nearly 1 in 10 people over age 80 have AFib, and many don't know it. And strokes caused by AFib tend to be more severe, with higher risk of long-term disability. But if you catch it early, treatments like blood thinners, rhythm medications, or even a pacemaker can dramatically reduce your risk. So do yourself a favor. Get to know your heartbeat. Check it once a day for a week. Keep a note of how it feels. And listen to your body. Because sometimes the most powerful stroke prevention tool is your own 2 fingers and a minute of quiet attention. Coming up next, we'll return to your kitchen, where a little planning ahead can make all the difference in your daily choices. Now let's talk about one of the most practical and often overlooked tools in stroke prevention: meal preparation. You've probably heard the saying, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. When it comes to eating healthy after 65, that couldn't be more true. Because here's the reality. When you're tired, or hungry, or short on time, you don't reach for the healthiest choice. You reach for what's easiest. And that's usually a snack full of salt, sugar, or processed ingredients. The very things we've been working to avoid. But what if, instead of scrambling at the last minute, you had heart-healthy, delicious options ready in your fridge, already washed, chopped, and portioned? That's what we call prep to prevent. Let's take a quick look at why this works so well. It removes decision fatigue. You don't have to think, just grab and eat. It builds consistency. When healthy meals are the default, your body gets the support it needs every single day. It reduces temptation. You're less likely to reach for high-sodium frozen dinners or sugary snacks when you've got something tasty and nourishing within reach. And most importantly, it helps keep your blood pressure stable, your cholesterol in check, and your blood vessels protected. So what should you prep? Here are 2 senior-friendly, stroke-smart ideas you can make ahead. 1. Fruit and nut salad cups. Mix together chopped apples, pears, or grapes, a handful of blueberries or raspberries, a sprinkle of walnuts or almonds, and a dash of cinnamon. Store in small containers in the fridge. Grab-and-go breakfast or snack. Rich in fiber, antioxidants, and healthy fats to support blood flow and reduce inflammation. 2. Chia oatmeal jars, overnight oats. In a mason jar, combine half cup rolled oats, 1 tablespoon chia seeds, half cup unsweetened almond milk or oat milk, a few frozen berries or banana slices. Let it soak overnight in the fridge, ready to eat in the morning. Packed with soluble fiber, omega-3s, and stable energy. Both recipes take less than 10 minutes to prepare. You can make 3 to 4 servings at once and have breakfast or snacks ready for half the week. Don't like sweet? No problem. Prep a savory mix. Cooked quinoa, roasted veggies, olive oil, and lemon juice. Or boiled eggs with sliced tomatoes and avocado. Store your meals in clear containers and place them at eye level in the fridge. That way, when hunger strikes, the healthy option is the first thing you see. One more tip. Keep a grocery list of your go-to heart-healthy ingredients on the fridge. That way, when it's time to shop, you're not guessing, you're prepared. Because stroke prevention isn't just about willpower. It's about making smart choices easier, before you even need to make them. Up next, why stroke prevention isn't something you should do alone. We'll explore how group activities and support networks can protect not just your health, but your happiness too. When we think about stroke prevention, most of us focus on diet, exercise, and medication. But there's one powerful factor that's often forgotten, and it lives outside your kitchen, outside your medicine cabinet, and deep in your relationships. I'm talking about social connection. Yes, your friendships, your sense of belonging, and even how often you laugh or talk to someone you trust. All of it matters. Because isolation isn't just lonely. It's a risk factor. In fact, studies have shown that social isolation increases stroke risk by 32% and significantly raises the chance of complications after a stroke if one occurs. Here's why. Loneliness increases stress hormones like cortisol, which can raise blood pressure. It makes it harder to stick with healthy habits, like walking or preparing meals. And it can quietly worsen depression or anxiety, both of which are linked to heart and brain health issues. So here's your mission. Don't do this alone. Build a support network. Find people who share your goals, even if it's just one or two. Start small. Join a walking group in your neighborhood or local community center. Look for gentle yoga or Tai Chi classes tailored for seniors. Great for balance, flexibility, and reducing stroke risk. Volunteer at a food pantry, library, or church group where purpose and movement go hand in hand. And if you can't leave the house easily, no problem. There are dozens of online communities for older adults focused on health, wellness, and connection. Even a weekly phone call with a friend can do wonders. Let me tell you a short story. A woman named Eleanor, age 72, suffered a mini stroke a few years ago. After that scare, her doctor told her she needed to walk more and manage her blood pressure. But Eleanor lived alone. She didn't drive anymore, and she was scared to go out by herself. So she joined a local senior center walking group that met twice a week at a park. At first, she was quiet, but soon she made a new friend, Mary, who had also experienced a health scare. They started checking on each other, reminding each other to eat healthy, to keep up with appointments, and even walk together on off days. 2 years later, Eleanor's blood pressure is stable. She's 12 pounds lighter, and, most importantly, she's happy. Because health isn't just about numbers, it's about people. So ask yourself, who's in your corner? And how can you connect more, even just once a week? Up next, we'll talk about the most powerful habit of all, one that brings everything we've covered together, and it only takes 5 minutes a week, but could save your life. Let's end with a tip that brings everything full circle. Because no matter how well you eat, walk, sleep, or stay connected, there's one essential habit that ties it all together: paying attention to your numbers and checking in with your doctor regularly. Think of it like this. You wouldn't drive a car for years without ever checking the oil, right? Your body is no different. And after age 65, regular checkups become your early warning system, helping you catch small issues before they become big emergencies. Here are the key numbers every older adult should track. Blood pressure, aim for under 130/80 millimeters of mercury heart rate. Know your resting pulse and monitor for changes cholesterol, especially LDL, bad cholesterol. Blood sugar. Even if you're not diabetic, rising glucose levels can increase stroke risk, weight, and waist size. A large waistline is linked to higher risk of metabolic syndrome. And if you've had any heart rhythm issues, track symptoms like palpitations, dizziness, or fatigue. But you don't have to wait for the doctor's office to keep track. Start a simple health notebook or journal. Each week, write down your blood pressure, if you have a monitor at home, pulse energy levels, sleep quality, any unusual symptoms like headaches, vision changes, or balance problems. Over time, this becomes a powerful tool, not just for you, but for your healthcare team. Because when your doctor can see patterns over time, they can make better, more personalized decisions for your care. And here's something many people forget. Your eyes, mouth, and gut are part of your cardiovascular system too. Vision changes could be an early sign of mini strokes or rising blood pressure. Gum disease has been linked to inflammation in the arteries. Digestive issues can affect nutrient absorption, especially B vitamins important for brain health. So don't skip the dentist. Don't delay your eye exam. And if something feels off in your digestion, mention it to your doctor. This is how you take control, not by guessing, but by tracking, observing, and staying proactive. Because stroke prevention isn't just about reacting to symptoms. It's about seeing the early signals and stepping in before they become something serious. And the best part? This habit only takes 5 minutes a week, but it gives you peace of mind every day. So let's take a deep breath and look back at the path we've walked together today. You've just learned 9 simple, science-backed habits that can help protect your brain, your heart, and your independence, all without expensive gadgets, extreme diets, or complicated routines. From boosting anti-inflammatory foods at breakfast to hydrating your body and cutting back on hidden sugars. From walking gently after meals to choosing olive oil and herbs over salt. Sleeping better, checking your pulse, prepping your meals, staying socially connected, and keeping track of your health with intention and care. These are not just tips. They are tools that empower you, no matter your age, your income, or your health history, to take control of your future. Because stroke prevention after 65 isn't about fear. It's about knowledge. It's about action. And above all, it's about hope. So here's what I ask of you. If even one of these habits felt helpful, please click the like button. It tells YouTube to share this video with more seniors who need it. If you found yourself saying, "That's me," or "I want to do that," hit subscribe. We share videos every week, crafted especially for older adults who want to live longer, feel better, and stay independent. And finally, share this video with someone you love. Because your sister, your friend, your neighbor may not know just how easy it is to lower their stroke risk until you show them. In the comments, let me know. Which of these 9 tips are you already doing? And which one will you start this week? And if you'd like to learn more about stroke-friendly foods, check out our next video. Foods that reduce stroke risk after 65. It's linked right here on the screen. Until then, stay strong, stay curious, and keep making choices that serve your future self. You've got this, and we're here with you every step of the way.